Alright guys, so we're talking about quadratic equations. Alright. And these basic equations have an x squared. So write down a little x2 right here. It's supposed to be a little bit 2. And we have certain things that we're looking for today. We're not going to do all the stuff, but we're going to do these 4 important things. So the y-intercept is where I'm just going to put crosses the y-axis. All right. So whenever it crosses the y-axis, you're always going to have the 0 first, and then you're going to have a number right here. This is a point. All right. So if I look at my picture where it crosses the y-axis, this is the y-axis right here, and I see my point where it crosses. So this is my y-intercept. I'm going to put y-intercept, and the 0 is always going to go first, and then this number, whatever that number is, goes second, -3, and that's it. Next we have zeros. So this one, for zeros, I want you to put AKA, also known as, that's what AKA stands for. This one is also going to be solutions. All right, it's also going to be roots. So 0, solutions, and x-intercepts. All right, and the definition for this one, this is where it crosses the x-axis. All right, where my parabola, all right, so I should have said before, the parabola, guys, it looks like the U shape. A parabola can go like this, all right, and it can go like this, all right. We're not doing side to sides, it's just up and down, okay? So my parabola is crossing the x-axis, so it's from my x line. So I have 2 spots right here. Now, whenever you have a 0, for this one, you're gonna have, put a parentheses, you're gonna have the number first, and then you're gonna have the 0 like that with a parenthesis. So the number goes first, and then the 0. So I have 2 places where it crosses. So on this one, I'm gonna have, this number is +1, 0. And on this one, I'm gonna have, that's -3, so -3, 0. So you always put the number, -3, 0, and 1, 0. Okay. Sometimes you can have 1, sometimes you can have 0, sometimes you can have 2. All right. Vertex, very important about the vertex. The one thing I want to say is that we can have a minimum. The minimum is when it's on the bottom. Or we can have a max. The max is when it's on top. Minimum or maximum. Okay. So for this one, we have this point. This is going to be -1. So this is a minimum because it's on the bottom. -1 because the x always goes first, and then down to -4. Minimum vertex. Okay. And then the axis of symmetry. This, it cuts in half. Cuts in half with x equals, right? It cuts in half with the x equals line. So if you look at the vertex is kind of the answer for the symmetry. So this line right here, it's gonna cut it right in half. Cuts it perfectly in half. So whatever your vertex is, you wanna look at this number. The -1 is the answer. You notice? And -1, that's where it's cutting. So my answer for my vertex is going to be x equals, right? Because it's always going to be an x equals line. Always goes up and down. And -1. Okay? So when y'all see the vertex has a lot of answers. Right? These are very, very important, these numbers. And you'll tell why, a little bit. So go to the page. So now we're gonna have, here, leave these on the bottom. Right? These one has the points. This one doesn't have the points. So the way you're going to do this, first thing you want to do is the vertex, okay? Always the first thing. That is a max vertex, okay? So this is going to be at 1, 4. So at the vertex, put 1, 4. All right, my x-intercepts, the zeros, all right, this is going to cross here. So that's supposed to be at the 4. I know it doesn't touch it, but it's supposed to be at the 4. And this is at -2. You see that? So for my zeros, I have 2 of them. There's 2 solutions. 2 solutions. All right. So I'm going to put this one first, -2, 0, and I also have +4, 0. Okay. Now my y-intercept, where does this cross this y line? Notice how it crosses right in the middle of 3 and 4, and it's in the middle. So that's 3.5. So just, whenever it's in the middle, guys, just, 3.5. 3.5. So for this one, remember that number, the 0 goes first. The 0 goes first here because you don't move. I'm at 0 and then up +3.5. The maximum value is the same thing as the vertex. So these should be the same. The minimum or the maximum and the vertex is the same answer because that's my max. It's going to be 1, 4. Axis of symmetry. So let me cut it in half. Let me put my little dash line, and you see how the vertex has a +1? That should be the same thing. This should be cutting at +1. So it's going to be x equals, because I have an x equals +1. All right. So the domain ranging equations, we'll do those tomorrow. So don't worry about those. You only need to do these parts. But you're going to see how the range and the 4 have something in common. The domain is actually pretty easy for all of them. And then the equation, we're going to use Desmos for that, all right? So the equation will be Desmos. But you don't have to do it today. I'll show you how to do it tomorrow. It's a different formula. So y squiggly. All right. So now let's look at this one. So for this, now you have a lot of points right here, right? It gives you all these points. So for example, this is going to be, remember, this is my 0, 0. That's my 0, 0 point. So this number is going to be 2, 0, because it's 1, 2. All right, this point right here, so I have 1, 2, 3, and then 1. So 3, 1. This is going to be 1, 1. So +1, 1, 1, like that. This one is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is going to be 4, 4. And then right here I have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is going to be 0, 4. So we have a lot of points. All right, the points, all these points right here, we need to use the Desmos. That's what we're going to do the equation. So that's why we need points. I need find 3 points. So we can use whichever ones we want. But for today, we're only doing these right here. So my vertex is this point right here. This is a minimum. So just make sure you write down, this is on the bottom. So I have a minimum right here. 2, 0. So 2, 0. My x-intercept, look, where does it cross the x line? Well, that's the same thing as an x-intercept. So the answer, again, is 2, 0. That's okay. It's okay for them to be the same. My y-intercept, where does it cross the y line? It crosses the y line at this point. That point was 0, 4. 0, 4. Minimum, remember, this is the bottom. The vertex and the minimum, or the maximum, always the same. So again, 2, 0. And then the axis of symmetry, this line is cutting. Now remember, it's cutting at this number. Whatever the vertex x number is, that is the x. X equals, right here, 2. So see, easy, really easy. Domain ranging equations, remember we'll do that tomorrow, so this is good. So go ahead and just finish these right here. Put your points where they belong, cut your line in half, and then label everything.